designers, Dawn here from Seasonal Designs. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. Today we are going to put together a fall tablescape here in the greenhouse for a dinner party we are having later this evening. My goal with this is to keep it natural, a little bit rustic maybe, and I'm going to use a few faux things, but I'm really going to try to use a lot of things from the yard and the garden. So if you're ready, let's get started. The biggest thing that we have to do is remove the round table that's typically in here that we use for every day. And we simply take that out and we put it in the garage, which is right over here at the house. So we don't have to go far. It's not heavy. These tables are just teak tables. The legs come off. We store them in the basement. If we're going to have a small group of people, we might bring out one table. If we're going to expand to like 8 or more people, we bring out 2 tables so that we have enough room. The other thing that we did is in this case, when we have 2 tables, I like to remove the chairs that are here and just get those out of the greenhouse. The little table, the little side table goes over there. I put a plant on it. I really try to set it up so that it looks, like a nice, lush, lovely place to have a dinner party. Now, the nice thing is, and we're in October here, is all of my tropicals are in the greenhouse. So my beautiful bird of paradise is in here, my coffee cups plant, my gardenia, all of that stuff is now in the greenhouse. I have some flowers that are still blooming. So that really adds sort of a nice ambience. But now we are going to try to work on covering up this table and kind of bringing this table to life. So obviously the first thing I need to do is I need to cover my tables. These are wonderful tablecloths. I believe I bought these on Amazon. They wash well. They don't seem to wrinkle. They cover my tables perfectly. They've got a great edge on them here with little dingle dangles. So I could leave this out, and many times I do, as my tablecloth, and I'll simply put my plates and chargers on top of this. But I really want to make this more of a fall, sort of rustic sort of table. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add a layer of burlap on top of this, if I have enough, and I'm hoping I do. And I'm just going to roll this out, and this is going to give me hopefully a little bit different look on top of this. Yeah, I'll have just enough. In fact, I'll even be able to drape this a little bit. So this just gives it a little bit more of a rustic vibe, and I think it's going to go better with what I'm trying to do. So we have enough. That's good. My thought on this is I want to use some of my dahlias. Hopefully I'll have enough in fall colors, and put them in water in my pumpkins. And this will be kind of the base of my table. And I'm not going to fill these yet. I'm going to put everything else out, and then I'll go cut my dahlias. Now I want to fill in the rest of this. And before I do that, I may even want to put a little bit of a light in here. So I'm going to go grab my battery operated string light. And because I use these a lot, I happen to have some here in the greenhouse. It is black. I I have some clear ones, but I think I'll be able to hide this. We'll see. All right. So I'm just going to kind of lay this out in a crinkled fashion here on my table. It doesn't have to be perfect. We just want to get the lights in there, and we can play with them once we start building this tablescape. All right, let's make sure that still works. Yep, good, okay. Look at that. Look what I found in my box. This is a light that has green on it already. I think we might have to switch this out. Never knew I had these. I have switched this out. I don't know why I didn't buy 2 of these. What was I thinking? I'm not even sure where I got them, but they're very cool. And I think this will be a better thing to use. I'm gonna have, I wish I had 2, but I don't. But it's just gonna add a little bit of light in here. And then this will get hidden in here. So I think that'll be great. Just enough. All right, I'm gonna turn it off so I don't waste my batteries. All right, just like that. Let's get back and add some more greens here. So really what I'm gonna do, and I wish I had bigger greens, and I do have some, but I have a lot of these smaller greens. And we're just gonna start laying this stuff down on the table. And I think I want to add the green, and I also want a little bit of the blue-green in here as well. I think that'll look really nice with the orange. The other thing you always have to bring are your snips. And then it's just about layering. The one thing I want to point out about this tablecloth that I really love is the lines that it has on it. And I have this line is centered here on my table, and so I'm simply lining up my centerpiece along that line. That's very helpful. But I have the base sort of laid out, and I'm really glad that I found this light here with the greens on it, because that sure makes it a lot easier. But I've added both the blue-green and the green-green in here, and very similar and on either side of the pumpkin. These leaves are facing this way on this side, and then these leaves over here are facing that way, so that it's kind of a cohesive look. But I have that, so that's what I have so far. Now, what I think would be really beautiful in this are some of my Annabelle hydrangea heads, and those are starting to dry right now, so we're gonna go cut some of those and add those to this arrangement. All right, so here's what we have, and they are, some of them are really brown. I don't really want brown, but I see that we have some green ones way back by the house. Ooh, we have a white one too, which is awesome. So I'm gonna cut some of these, and I am gonna try and just see what they look like in the arrangement. My other tip is whenever you're working on something, I've been working from this side of the table, but you always want to make sure that you're looking at your arrangement, obviously, from all sides of the table to make sure that it looks good no matter which way you're looking at it. So just a quick little tip. I've decided that I might like these a little bit smaller. I feel like they're big. Some of these are just too big. So I'm going to take these. So if you take a look at the hydrangea, right, it has all these little pieces that make up this one bloom. I'm going to snip these off instead and put smaller pieces, maybe more smaller pieces in here. I think it just looked a little too big for me. So I'm just going to come along. Actually, I probably didn't need to cut as many. And just take some of these smaller pieces out of here and pop these into this arrangement instead. All right, I think I have this to a point where I love what it looks like. When you're doing a tablescape, you know you have to take into consideration how wide your table is, because you definitely want to make sure that you have enough room for your chargers and your plates and your silverware and your glasses and all of that. So I don't want to make this too heavy. I really want it to just be a little sparse. And I think that finding this light set that has greens on it was a big help in keeping this a little bit more sparse. Otherwise, I would have literally had to cover everything up here. Now, I'm going to save this hydrangea because it's a little bit more fresh. I'm going to stick it in water because I think I'm going to use a little bit of this in each one of these arrangements when it comes time to do the fresh flowers. That is the last thing that you are going to want to do. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to go in, I'm going to get the chargers, my place settings, the silverware, the glasses, and we are going to set that up next. I'm using a green charger. And then this beautiful green, white, and gold plate. I feel like these are greenhouse-esque with the green leaves. So now I'm looking at what I have so far. And I have this little bit of gold in this plate. And I also have a little bit of a gold silverware that we're going to be using. But I think I might want to add a little bit of gold to this in a color. And I have some ferns that might do the trick. Let me get those. So this is a faux fern. So I think this would add a really nice touch to this centerpiece. So I am going to add a few of these here and there in this arrangement. Yeah, that is going to be real nice. So my silverware is really more sort of champagne than gold, but I think it looks real nice with the plates as well as when it lays on the burlap. I love the look of it. So I'm going to set that out next. These little napkin rings with the daisy and the bee on them, probably probably a little more summer, but we're gonna use them anyways because they look so great with the plates. I have just a simple green napkin that matches my green, and that is what we're gonna put on the plates. We are having sea bass this evening, so we are going to serve a white wine. So I am going to just set wine glasses. People may not want a glass of wine, that's fine, but at least they'll be out here and the table setting will look real nice. And we can always change these out if we need to. Here's what we have so far. Again, I have not picked or cut the fresh flowers yet. That is going to be last, but we have, I really love the way it's kind of the green colors, right? With the green here in the plates and the napkins. I set this sort of on the side because I love the look of this plate and I don't want to cover that up. So I've kind of set the napkins on an angle, but I really love, so far, I love the way this looks. Now, my pumpkins are pretty much set within the arrangement, and I am not going to pull these out. I have little round Tupperware dishes that I'm going to place inside of this, so these will not have to move. Those are going to stay put. All right, here I am at the cutting garden. We're going to use some of my dahlias for in the pumpkins, and I think I'm gonna stick more to the yellows and salmons. I don't know that I would like a pink in there, but you know, I might cut a pink and see. Wow, look at all these bees. Wow, look at all the pollinators on that. Well, I definitely won't take all of, oh my word, look at all these guys. Oop, a little blurry. So I'm not gonna take all of this. Gonna only take maybe a couple of the yellow and some of the salmon where the pollinators are not, and maybe some of those gold ones in there. So here's the deal. The Tupperware containers I thought would fit in those pumpkins don't. So I have little solo cups I've cut, I have water in these. I'm just going to get the flowers cleaned up and cut a little bit in the house here and then take them out to the greenhouse and do the final arranging there. Well, I'm hoping you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Some of this I am going to pull out. I'm just going to lay it here on my paper towel. And I'm going to add one of the little hydrangea pieces in here. And then I'm going to just start cutting this stuff so that it fits in here and lays the way I want. And a lot of times I really want it to kind of lay up. We're going to hide the edge with a little bit of this and a little bit of that. All right, so I am going to pull some of the petals off of this guy because he is getting a little tired in the back, but I want to make sure that I have enough of this color in here. He was a little long. We're just going to give him a snip. And I'm really just going to fill in. Now, I don't want this guy facing downward. You're really not going to see him. So I'm going to have to maybe convince him to hang out here on the side so that he faces out at least. I can do that there like that. Now this guy is so wonky. I'm going to try to just stick him right in the middle here. So let me go over everything that we have used. We have used some faux green, kind of a blue green, along with just a normal, nice deep dark green, as well as a faux fern, which is green and a little bit of gold. We've tied in some hydrangeas, dried hydrangeas, Annabelles from outside. I have picked a number of my dahlias from my cutting garden. I also cut some greens from my Mandevilla vine and actually cut off a bloom I see right there, but we've added him. We also added a little bit of this sort of dried sedum that I had. I added a few berries to this. And that really was it. Oh, except for we did add that strand of wired lights that I will turn on for the actual dinner party. So just kind of taking a look at all the different dahlias I did add in here, mostly sticking with salmons and the golds and yellows, looking real pretty. I did pop a pink one in this one, which I think actually looks just fine in here. And then coming down to this last one here, love this bright yellow one here on top. The last things I added to this were the candles, as you can see. I added 2 tapers in gold, and then I did add a couple of tea lights here on both sides. That is going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.